Hi guys, welcome back to Codemaster Coach, your medical coding tutor. Guys, today I want to give you some additional information. I'm always trying to research and give you guys as much up-to-date information as I can on the profession of medical coding. And I found an article that I had written a couple of years back, and I wanted to share it with you today. So let me give you some information on medical coding. Let me share this with you. The article I wrote talked about which side of the college is the right side of the college. And I know you're wondering, okay, wait a minute, what do you mean, which side of the college? Well, remember, there's a degree side, which they consider the academic side of the college, and then there's a continuing education side of the college. So after working for both sides of a college campus, the degree side and the continuing education side, I battled for a long time as to which side of the college was the right side of the college for medical coding students. Especially since these days you'll find medical coding programs taught on both sides of the college. For example, phlebotomy, medical laboratory, medical coding and billing. These are just a few of the programs that are offered on both the degree side, which is considered, again, the academic side. Is the side that you go for either your associate or your bachelor's degree, or the continuing education side of a college, where what they offer you is a certificate. So which side of the college is the right side? I've taught on both sides of a college campus. So I've fought this battle for a long time. My course content was pretty much the same on both sides. However, I must note the difference that I saw as an instructor, as faculty. The differences that I saw, first, after teaching for 11 years on the degree side of a college, teaching health information management courses toward an associate degree in health information technology and a certificate program in medical coding and billing, I felt that I had to prepare a strong foundation in the student, because on the degree side, I had more entities that I had to answer to rather than just the college. Let me explain. Examples of entities. For the college has their own accreditation board for the college as a whole. But for my coding program, my RHIT program, I had to meet the American Health Information Management Association, AHIMA, and the American Academy of Professional Coders, AAPC, and both of my program that was the degree for the RHIT was an accredited program, and my medical coding certificate program is an approved program. So I had to meet AHIMA and AAPC requirements and the college's within academic board. That board would let me know how many hours I needed to offer Associate of Science in Health Information Technology. They told me how many hours my degree would have to be. For example, my degree program had to be an accredited program in order for my students to sit for their national examination to be certified in health information technology. So any of you out there in your RHIT programs, make sure that your program is accredited, because if it's not, you will not be able to sit for your RHIT. College entrance examination test score requirements of a certain entry level, such as your SAT and your ACT, had to be met prior to being accepted into the degree side of the college. My curriculum was set up 1 to 2 years in advance and could not be altered once the student started the curriculum. So if you started, say for example, the RHIT or the medical coding certificate program in 2024, if it changes in 2025 and you start in 2024, you will be permitted to complete the program based on the 2024 guidelines and not the 2025. because it was set up so far in advance. This curriculum usually included scheduled dates and times, and they could not be altered. So with the degree, it's set up that the student has to accommodate their schedule to what the degree side of the college is offering, instead of the program catering to the student. If a student failed a course, that student would have to wait until the same time next year in order to retake that course, because with specialty programs such as medical coding, that course would not be offered again in the curriculum until the following year. And grading on the degree side of the college was on the 4.0 grade scale, which is what it was at several of the colleges. And the students must pass each of their courses with a grade of a 2.5 or higher in order to stay in the program. Your grades dropped, you were dropped from the program. And if a student fails a course more than once, they are not permitted to remain in the program. And then statutes of limitations. They played a big role on the degree side of the college too. If you had not taken a healthcare related course in greater than 5 years, you were required to retake that course. For example, I think of medical terminology. With medical terminology, I know that if you know the prefix, the suffix, and the word root, and you can build a medical term, that's your medical terminology. But if more than 5 years has passed since you've taken a medical terminology course on the degree side, you would be required to take that course again. The theory behind this rule of thumb is that healthcare is changing by leaps and bounds. Any healthcare course that was taken greater than 5 years ago has probably been revamped, and the information is more likely to have changed. And that makes a lot of sense, especially when you're getting into the coding rules and the guidelines. I could see that. At one time, students could test out of a course, but I experienced finding that colleges really don't like the student to do that. Why? Because when you test out, the college automatically gives you credit for a course that you didn't actually take, and that's money that's lost. Or are they finding that the test really can't determine what the student could really get out of a course if they took the course? So ponder on that one. The target market for the degree side of the college is the high school graduate or a continuing degree seeking adult. The degree side is looking for those students that after high school they understand that they're not going to be working full time, they're going to school, or they're going to go and their priority is their degree and not working. It was felt that these students are prepared to put in the time necessary to obtain the degree, with the prestige of knowing that they will be taking courses in addition to the specialty courses that will introduce them to other areas such as psychology and history, ethics, philosophy, and other electives. So in addition to taking medical coding courses or your RHIT courses, with that degree, the RHIT does require electives. I think the concept is to make you a more well-rounded student. And I know I'm questioned about that quite a bit with my medical coding certificate program. Why are my students not taking public speaking and anatomy and physiology? And the goal of my program is to teach you how to code. But we'll talk about that a little more in the future. On the degree side, this could include a course called College 101, and it's taught preferably the first semester when you come into the college, and it's supposed to prepare the student for college life. But guys, that's another course you're paying to take. The equipment available on the degree side seemed to be more up to date and of higher quality. Maybe this is because the financial resources were stronger on the degree side. By resources, I mean the budget, because the degree side accepts financial aid, scholarships, etc. Money just seemed to flow more lucratively on the degree side. The education and credential of the faculty had to meet the accrediting, the national, and the state requirements to teach each of the courses that they offered. I like to say if you're teaching for an associate degree, the teacher must have a bachelor's. They need to be one degree ahead of you. So if they're teaching on the associate degree, the teacher should have a bachelor's. If they're teaching on the bachelor's degree, the teacher should have the master's. If they're teaching on the master's, the teacher should already have a doctorate. However, on the continuing education side of the college, there's a little more flexibility when it comes to its faculty members. On the continuing education side, you can hear about somebody in your community that is well known for grant writing and ask them to put together a continuing education course to teach others how to write grants. Again, we didn't look at their education, but we know they're known for getting grants approved. They're really good at what they do. Continuing ed can bring them right on in and get them to teach others how to do that. Those credentialing requirements are not required there. Continuing education course schedules were pretty much set based on the needs of the students. I still taught the same course content, but my students were not required to test into the college like they were on the degree side. I would try to advise the student prior to starting them in the program to make sure they truly understood what they were getting into. But usually the course itself weaned students out. Either they got it or they didn't. Continuing education grading was not based on the 4.0 grade scale as it was on the degree side. It was a pass or fail. You either got a P or an F grade. So I always still held my continuing education students to the same grade scale of a 78 or better, which is what I did on the degree side. My target market was the adult learner or an individual returning to class for continuing education credits, which are CEUs, to maintain certification or licensure requirements. There were also individuals that wanted to learn a specialized trade due to their company downsizing. Materials or equipment didn't seem to come as easy as it did on the degree side of the college. I even had to make sure computer labs were vacant and not being used by the degree side before I could schedule a continuing education class. Because again, the degree side of the college got priority. The budget for the program or class was based on the price of the class. The more charged, the more resources I could request. Funding for classes usually came from the students themselves on the continuing ed side as self-pay students. Financial aid was not available. Some students were able to get their employers to pay for their classes. But again, the budget was based on the enrollment. And determination of which classes were offered on the continuing education side were based on need by employers, by industry, or by the student. Classes could be put together at a request in a matter of time, convenient for the school and the requester, as long as the funds and or the students were met. I can remember teaching on the degree side and being asked by a local large regional hospital if I could put together, I was teaching at that time a 2-year degree RHIT program. But they wanted a medical coder quicker because the RHIT is like the supervisor, but they needed medical coders. And so within my degree, RHIT degree program, I started a 1-year medical coding certificate program to try to meet industry needs. And the continuing education division of my same college asked if I would put one together for them as well. Education and credentials of the faculty, again, depended on the course taught. For continuing education, if learning the wallpaper was a class offered and you trusted the college and or your instructor to offer you a quality class, as long as the funds and the number of students to justify a class were met, on the continuing education side, the class would run. As long as those numbers they had the faculty, they had enough students to justify paying the faculty, the class would run. However, an allied healthcare class such as medical coding or certified nursing assistant would require the necessary qualifications of the national organizations that oversaw the profession to teach the class. So what am I saying? I'm still saying AHIMA and AAPC still would prefer that any student taking courses, if you're taking a medical coding course, make sure your instructor is certified, has her degree. I did it the wrong way. I went all the way up and got the bachelor's, the RHIA first, and then realized I could make just as much money with the bachelor that I'm making with my bachelor's degree in health information administration. I've got the RHIA, as I could with a 1-year medical coding certificate with my CPC. But look back at your faculty. Make sure they're qualified to teach you what they're teaching. So after all of the above information has been given to you, again, my question is, which side of the college is the right side? After much debate, I must admit that I have found that this question can only be answered by the student. The student must truly investigate both sides of the college to determine which side better meets their needs. Look at those schedules. Remember, the college, the academic side, sets their times up. You have to meet their needs. Continuing ed is usually done in the evenings. It can be done in the morning. It can be done at any time as long as they have enough students to run the class. Guess what? Now there are even private entities, Codemaster Coach, that offer these very same classes or programs too. So now you got a degree side, a continuing education side, and now these private entities. I hope you take all of this information, times of classes, qualification of the faculty, whether or not it's going to meet your needs and what you're looking for, before you decide which side of the college is right for you. Guys, registration is now open. Codemaster Coach will be starting her next class January 5th, 2025. Feel free to email me at codemastercoach@gmail.com. All right, guys. Thanks.